Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to be looking at how to set up a Django application to run on Docker and use Docker as your development environment. So for this I've already gone ahead to create some files that we need. One of them is the Docker file. The Docker file is going to install Python 3.7, and the directory that we're going to be using, the directory in the physical box is going to be the DJ Docker, and the working directory that's in the main Docker container is also going to be DJ Docker, and the environment that we have here set up, when we run the Docker Compose, is going to copy everything inside this environment to inside this folder into a folder inside the container, and we can now upgrade pip and install all the requirements in the requirements.txt, which is this file. And for this setup, we're going to be using PostgreSQL database that we will set up on a local environment. It's going to be a Docker environment too. So we're going to have two Docker instance containers running, one for the Django application and the other for the Postgres DB. And here's the Docker Compose setup. So the Postgres DB is going to be running on port 32888, and it's going to be, the container is going to be on this port, and it's mapped to what the actual database that is running within the container. And we're going to map a PG data, which is going to be the data directory, and it's basically like it's a volume that all the database data related to the Postgres is going to be stored in here. And the build, this dot implies that it's going to build the application from what's inside this the same directory as the docker-compose file. So it's on this level, so everything inside this folder is going to be used to build the image, which is going to be linked to my Python, my Docker Hub namespace, and it will be stored in this folder, this image, and tagged as latest. The application will run on localhost port 8282. So when we go to localhost port 8282, we'll be able to see the application running, and it's going to use all the credentials from the .env file that we have here. I've included an example .env file, so when I post this on GitHub, you should be able to copy this and just change the secret key, and you should be good to go. All of this we'll use it in future episodes when we start talking about integrating the application with Stripe and some other features we're going to add later. But for now, we only have one application, which is the app base I created, and we're going to work on this later in future episodes. So this episode is strictly for setting up this application in Docker, and so that just to get us started, and you should be able to see everything running on the front end. Now, since we're using Docker Compose, I'll go ahead and switch to my command line and start and run the Docker Compose up, which is going to tell the application to build, and tell Docker to build the application and create the image. So let's get started. From here, I'm going to run the basic Docker commands, Docker ps to make sure we don't have any images or containers running. Docker ps -a. It's going to show you all running containers, and those have been exited, so there's nothing there. Docker images will show you any images. We don't have any images, so we're still going to come back and run these commands when we've set up the application, so you can see all the containers and the images we have running. So basically, we're going to expect an image for Python to be there, an image for Postgres, and an image for the PyAnswers /DJ Docker. This image to be there by the time we're done with the setup. Right, let's get started. So the command is docker compose up. But if you've already run this, so if you run this, it's going to build the application and also start the container, so you can just go to the UI and see everything. If you just want to be explicit, you just say build. What it's going to do is going to build the image, but then it's going to stop there. They now need to come back and run docker up to actually bring the application online. So I usually like to run the, sorry, just do build, sorry. So, but you can do docker up dash dash build. So which change the command, so it will try to bring it up, but then before it brings it up, it's going to build the application before bringing it back up. So since this is the first time we are running this, let's just do docker up, docker compose up. Then as you see, it did not see any of the images on the local environment, so local docker. So it's pulling it from the docker hub. It's running through. This is the Postgres image. It's extracting everything. So these images are in layers. So and it builds everything, then it deletes all the layers and just keeps the final build. Now this is Python 7. It's pulling it down. Python. So I think that's all we need. After this, it's gonna now proceed to run wherever we have in the docker compose file. Okay, and this verifying the checksum. Okay, it's almost there. So the beautiful thing about doing the docker compose is it chains everything together, and you can have multiple dependencies on for your application. So if you have a dependency on some kind of database, a Redis server, you can chain all that together in your docker compose file. So when you run the docker compose up, it can pull down all the images and create that application and distributed. It's kind of like an application that has several parts. If it's a microservice oriented architecture, then you can have some other services linked to the same application. So for this, it's installing all the contents of the requirement.txt file. So you see Python decouple. If we go back to this, you see that's it right there. Then Django, Python, Postgres, the backend. So I think it's done at this point. It's still going to do one more step. Then it's going to exit. Okay, it's creating the. Alright, so let's see what's happening now. It's created the database and created the image here, created an image. So if we go to docker exec, this we should be able to tunnel into the box. This is for the database and that's for the web application. So it's everything is running fine now. So I have to switch to a new tab and do docker ps. So we now have a database, an application, a container running the application, and a different container running the database. So if I want to get into the container for the web application, I can do run docker exec. I'll say it's interactive mode bash. That will open a shell command and put me inside the box. I'm now inside the Docker environment. So remember what I said initially, that it's going to take us to, it's going to store the application inside a DJ Docker folder. That's what we have in the working directory is going to be DJ Docker, and that's exactly what we have here. So if you do ls, it's going to show you the content of this folder, which will be exactly as what we have here. So if you look at all these requirements, manage.py and all that, it's all there. They're all there. So now, from this point, since this is a fresh application, we've not set up the database, but let's just take a look at the front end to see what we have so far. Alright, so I already have this. Let's take a look at the application. Docker compose, it's going to be loading at this. It's 2. And let's see what's going on here. Inside the container, let's run Python. You can do this as shortcut, manage.py, run server. Let's see if we have any errors. Okay, it says duplicate static files. That's interesting. Let's look at the settings. Settings file. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'll let me remove this for now. We'll see if that changes anything here. Right, it says installed apps in configuration application levels aren't unique duplicates. Okay. Static files. Static file. This is static URL. Right, I see what's going on. I see. Yeah, it's here. So right, so we have a duplicate of this. So that's interesting. So now it's gone, but then it's telling us that we don't have any. We've not run migration command to actually set up the databases. But if we go to the UI, we should be able to. So I'm gonna end this. Let's go back to this place. You should see a running application. So this is a running Django application, Django 2.2.7, and if we go to the admin, this is the admin. So that means we can go to /admin to see. So that's what I expected. So basically, we've not we executed the migration command. So what we can do now is to go back in. We are still inside the container, which is our dev environment. You can see manage. Let's just see if we have any migration. Nothing to migrate. Okay, so just migrate. No migrations to create. Migrate. All right, so it's pretty fast. So basically, we've created the tables that we need to run the application. So if we go back to this page and refresh, the error will be gone. But then we don't have any super user to log in, so we can go back in here and say same command. Where we say create super user. It's going to ask you a couple of questions. So let me say mine could be DJ user. Okay. Let me just use admin. Okay, I'm going to use by, and it says okay, let's go use okay, testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. But you need to use something, but it says to command. Okay, I'll take it. Password location. No, just to do it the right way. I'll say test at 1012, testing at 1012. All right, so it's done. So if I go to the UI, I can go with admin and testing at 1012. All right, so we're in, and for this we have the user. It's pretty much basic user. So the user, so you can see it up here, all right, so that's pretty much a standard Django application, and you're seeing this because we added that doesn't come with a standard Django. When you run the Django command, it doesn't add the size for you, so we added it. So now we can see this site configuration, and yeah, so this is running off a Docker container, and we can just keep on using the dev environment. Like if you do the docker exec -it, the name of the container, and bash, so it takes you in here. From here you can do whatever you want to do. You can install any libraries, any plugins, so like pip install. I don't know if we already have requests. Let's say I want to install arrow. You see, then if I now do pip freeze, it's gonna have arrow installed here. Now I can do pip freeze, map it to requirements.txt. But before we do that, let's take a look at the requirement.txt. You see, it's still the old pristine, the old default stuff we had when we started the project. Now, when I run this, all that I have currently in this way, like this arrow, is going to be part of the requirement.txt. So it's changed. All right, so that's very much how you do it. So why this is happening is because in the Docker Compose file, we said everything inside the dots, that's the current directory, should be synced, should be mapped to what's inside this Docker folder inside the Docker container. So every time I make any change to this, if I decide to maybe change this, okay, let's change this to manage or customer. All right, so if we now go back into this environment, so we can go to dj docker ls nano. You see, now we installed nano here in the Docker file, so we can use it every time we interact with the Docker Compose, so we can use URL. Now you see this has changed to customer. So if I go back to the UI and try to view this, it's not going to work because it's expecting this to be customer, and that's it. So I changed it on the local environment, and here I changed it in the local, which is my physical box, and it got pushed to the Docker container, and I was able to now start using it on the fly. Yeah, so that's pretty much how you set up your Django application to run. I'll change this back to run inside a Docker environment. So from this point, we can decide to push this to deploy this as a stack. So I can create a stack which pretty much, or a service that is going to have connect to several operating several servers and run this as a cluster. So every time you want to spin up this application, you can use this Docker Compose file and try and use it to set up the application. Then it's going to distribute the application across multiple servers. So pretty much similar to what you have in Docker Swarm. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to push this up to GitHub with the example .env file. So all you need to change is the secret, or you can leave it the way it is, since it's just going to be in the environment. So with that, if you just go to the clone the application and go to the folder inside this Docker dj docker and run docker-compose up, you should be able to spin up the exactly the same application. Then from there you can start building. Next time we can look at creating a simple application using this app base we created, and just try to set up something and then enable the admin and try to see what it's going to look like when you come over to this admin area. A lot of this, what you see here, they are quite customizable, so I'm going to cover in future episodes how to clean up your admin and make it very clean and more user friendly. And it doesn't really have this Django like admin look. You can have something much different using Material Design and Bootstrap, whatever your flavor is. But I'll be covering all of that in future episodes. So if you like this, like my channel, and you can give me suggestions on the topics you want to cover in Docker and Django. I'll be glad to feature that on this channel. Thank you, and you have a wonderful day.